So this is a request from my boy Wesley. He asked me to talk about the five love languages and how to access them, or just my thoughts on the five love languages. Now, I'm going straight off the dome. I'm not familiar with the ins and outs of the author's perspective on the five love languages, but for what I understand, it's gift giving, acts of service, words of confirmation, quality time, and physical touch. These apparently are the five love languages. And I tell you what, for damn sure, I don't have the gift giving love language. I never have. I hate fucking thinking about a gift to give. If I have money, I'd rather give you money. The most frustrating thing about giving gifts is not knowing what the other person really truly wants. And I'm just saying, I'm about to go on a little rant with gifts right quick, just for 2 seconds. When I want gifts, I'll tell you exactly what the fuck I want, all right? I will let you know I want this book. I want something in this genre of things. I hate having to just leave it up to the imagination. Oh, just take a guess. Just surprise me. No, give me money. Anyway, so I'm not saying that I disagree that we express our love and our appreciation for people through these languages, or even through more languages than that, perhaps. And maybe he covered all of them. But I will say my instincts and my feelings, just without even giving it too much thought, about the five love languages is, for instance, me already saying that my love language is definitely not gift giving. I would say if I had to pick one, it's probably words of affirmation, and physical touch, and acts of service. Actually, all three of those things. And quality time too, actually. Every single one except for gift giving, I would say, is my language. The problem with that, though, is if you kind of lean on one or turn your back towards another, I'm not saying that therefore, because I'm not good at gift giving, that I should just hang up my efforts to be a good gift giver. I'm not saying that I should not try harder or give it more thought and be more effortful in my contemplation of gift giving. There's some people that are just tremendous gift givers, and I know it's not impossible to do so. And I shouldn't accept that weakness about myself, but nor should I necessarily indict my love language, my expression of love, because I don't know what he says in his book about the love languages, but if you are really adept at one particular love language, or maybe, two or three even, then, we should not persecute each other for not being so great at the others. But I would argue that it's a compatibility thing. It doesn't matter what your love language is if the person isn't receptive to it. I heard this beef just recently with this couple where it was this young couple, and this dude, he felt as though he got his girl this wonderful gift and she didn't really give him anything, but she was driving him places and doing a lot for him that outside of the gift giving part. But then for his birthday, she had got him something really just mundane, and he felt slighted by that, because when he gives gifts, he gives just these gifts that are really expensive or really thoughtful. So with that, it's hey, if she shows her love and does well expressing her love in all these other respects, don't hold her to this high standard of gift giving if she fails with that one respect. That's not fair. Let's just be fair. And again, it's a compatibility thing too, though. And I think it's also a fairness thing, and not having too high of a standard where we need for somebody to be firing at all cylinders at all times. But I think in the beginning of a relationship too, I'll speak to the beginning of a relationship with people. I think that when we're trying to figure out whether or not somebody loves us, we hold them to these responsibilities hey, I'll know if she loves me. I know if he loves me when it comes to my birthday or Christmas time. If they don't hook me up with this or do that for me or get me this exact gift, then I know that their love isn't real. But I feel like there should be different standards. For me, I just want some basics: vulnerability, wholeheartedness, transparency, a particular kind of conversational honesty, that you can't read people's minds. Okay? Now, part of romance actually, what makes romance is a lack of communication. It is a bit of a mystery. It's actually not getting everything out the person. As far as the classical romance that a lot of us sort of become attached to, it's this unknown factor. It's the, I don't know if they really feel this way. And you're not going to ask them, because typically people in the beginnings of relationships or romances, they are keeping a lot close to the vest. And that's what makes it romantic. One of my favorite films, Vicky Cristina Barcelona, my boy Javier Bardem, his character, his name is Juan Antonio, and he has this ex and his ex-wife who they had a very contentious relationship, but he still looks at it with a fondness, and he says, Maria Elena always said that unfulfilled love is the most romantic. And it's true. There's something about being unfulfilled while still having love for the other person, especially in the very beginning of getting to know somebody. It is what makes it romantic. It's this tension. It's this uncertainty that makes it romantic. But then obviously that's not the only kind of romance that exists. Clearly you can know each other through and through and still have the other kind of romance that's talked about, where it's a surprise, you do this or that for the other, you go on a candlelit dinner, or you do something unexpected, or you just spend a quality time that involves different sorts of actions and behaviors that can also sort of light the fires of what we call romance. But that classic romance, though, that's in every what the fuck is romance in movies? It's always people not knowing each other. It's strangers becoming less strangers. It's friends evolving their relationship and becoming something more. It's always the origin, the beginning, the first steps. And those first steps, typically, where's the conflict coming? Why is it romantic? It's romantic because motherfuckers are not speaking 100% their feelings. They're not being wholly and unadulteratedly communicative. And that's what makes it romantic. It's a tension. It's an uncertainty. It's an unknown. It's a mystery. So that being said, my beef with the love languages, so to speak, is that I'm not a fan of labels, because when you say my love language is quality time and I'm sticking to it, then I feel like you're going to limit your growth with those other languages if you adhere to them. Again, I'm not saying that the love languages don't make sense, but I do think that when we take it to heart and we adhere to them as if it's the gospel, like many people do, what we all look for is a system. We all look for frameworks and these criteria that we abide by. But I think that I'm more, I guess you could say, I aspire to be more minimalistic and to try to be as simplistic as possible in regards to how we should comport ourselves and behave, and then sort of let the chips fall where they may. So my feeling about what it takes to express love, I think love involves some basics, and some of the basics are vulnerability. Vulnerability meaning that you let your defenses down. You try to be as communicative as possible. You put aside the fact that you could be hurt if you make certain statements. You could be hurt if you reveal certain aspects to your considerations, your contemplations, your reflections. But vulnerability means that it's a willingness and it's a daring. As I never read Brene Brown's book. Is her name Brene or Renee? I'm not certain, but I think she's daring greatly. It is a daring when it comes to vulnerability. And by the way, I was saying vulnerability way before that book came out. All right, but anyway, moving on. So I think vulnerability is one of the basics, and then one of the other basics is to me, we need as many words as possible, and transparency, which is essentially synonymous with vulnerability, but a kind of transparency, if you want to look at it like that. It's let yourself be psychologically, emotionally naked. To me, it's a little bit different from vulnerability. It's more so transparency is more of a something that I think should be enacted even outside of romance and love. Like, I ain't mad at nobody for only wanting to be vulnerable with their loved ones, or even just with your significant other, and have your guard up for other people. I ain't mad at you for that. But to me, transparency falls in line with more of the platonic and things outside the world of romance. But I think that also is something, a healthy sort of mode, a way of being to aspire to acquire, and also a seldom talked about, I think, aspect to having the best kind of love between you and another person. It starts with you, actually. I think a basic sort of self-honesty is one of the aspirations we should be gunning for. How can you begin to understand this other person until you try to understand yourself? Because the problem is that even if I see you clearly, even if I know damn well you did this because of that, and you said that because of this, you were just trying to be passive aggressive, you really are just unhappy, you're disappointed. Even if I am accurate, it doesn't matter if you don't see it. You need to see yourself clearly. Or maybe it's not even that. You need to see yourself clearly, so if I'm wrong, you can lay out the reasons as to why I'm wrong, and not lay out the reasons just because you're trying to win, just because you're trying to fight back, right? Because this is game of leverage. And that's another part of love to me, is trying to pull back from that inclination to play this game, to engage in the friendly fire, the warfare. That's what we try to do. Man, I say this all the time. Life and people is that everybody plays this game. We have these little subtle wars and these verbal competitions. What's the fucking point if you can't come home, talk to your friends, talk to your significant other, and put all that bullshit aside? You're home, and the people that you call your friends and your loved ones, within that should be a sanctuary. And if that's too idealistic, if that's way too much of an ask, then we're fucked. We are fucked, y'all. If it's too much to ask that with our loved ones, we have a safe place, not to not speak our mind, but a safe place to speak our mind, to be honest, and to give each other benefit of the doubt, to try our best to be non-judgmental, to know that each of our objectives, despite the fact that we might disagree with each other, despite the fact that we might have differing, contrasting views, our objective is harmony. But is that your objective? And that's one of the other aspects. Whatever your love language is, to me, if your objective is not harmony, then there's no point. Then just stop. Just stop then. Because you can do all the acts of kindness. You can do all the gift giving you want. You can do the touch. You can do the quality time. You can do the words of affirmation. But if your objective in the long run, it's not a basic kind of harmony where you comport yourself and behave and at least aspire to be a civil person, a respectful person, a communicative person, despite however it comes out. If that's not your objective, then I assure you the little basic human flaws will kick in. And with those basic human flaws, that when we're tired, it gets the best of us. And then it manifests itself in ugliness. When we're stressed and when we're malnourished and when we are just overall just don't feel great, it's going to get the best of us. And who gets the brunt of that ugliness? It's the people around us. It's the loved ones. You're not taking it out on your boss. You're not taking it out on the people that deserve for it to be taken out on. You take it out on the people that are easiest, because one other aspect to human beings, we are cowards, and we don't want to admit we're cowards because we're too proud, we're too egotistical, we're too insecure to acknowledge that we're fucking cowards, that we're weak, and I'm not admitting it. I refuse to admit it, because if I admit that, that means you have leverage over me. If I admit that, that means I lose. What do you lose? What are you losing? What is it? What you lost? What? I tell you what you're losing. You're losing valuable fucking time, and you're losing valuable quality time. You want that quality time? Let it be real. A lot of people can just fight, bullshit. I mean, I brought these people up before, but there's this couple, I'm sorry, but this is such a good example. There's this couple that fights like cats and dogs that lives across the street from me, right? And then every other day, then they're back to normal. Hey, babe, yeah, all right. Hey, they're all like happy-go-lucky. It's such bullshit. They haven't resolved a damn thing. They just go back to invested playing this part. They are satisfied. And I know how that feels. I know what that's like to just sweep it under the rug. All right, that happened. We fought, whatever. We hate each other. We hated each other yesterday, but we're good now. And why are we good? Because we feel better. And if we feel better, that means that, what's the point of talking about it? There's no point in trying to really get to the root of it and trying to really figure it out and really solve it. And so that we can uproot all the weeds of discord that we have amongst each other, between each other. Fuck it. Let's all be la la la. Hey babe. Yeah. Love, love, love. And then you fight again. And then it's this cycle, and we just are so scared to admit that it's one of the most unproductive, dysfunctional things. And it's just so stupid. And listen, it sucks to suck. It sucks to be stressed, and it sucks to fight. To me, one of the worst fucking feelings in the world is beefing with people you care about. Because what happens, in my experience, in the brain, it's like, wait a minute, do we love each other? Because if we love each other, what the fuck is this then? I fight like this less with acquaintances, less with strangers. If we can't be reasonable and sensible with each other, if we can't transcend our worst selves for the sake of what we call love, then what's the fucking point? Again, all gifts are just that gift giving. You made me feel good. Great. Thank you. But then our relationship is bullshit. Quality time. Great. We felt good. But then we can't resolve our issues. Physical touch. Oh, that felt great. But then we're at it. Like cats and dogs, we're misunderstanding each other. We're speaking past each other. What's the point if there's not a more sustainable, long-lasting harmony? Harmony that you can have confidence in. That you don't have to have this sort of reserve. You ain't got your fucking Mayweather guard up like, okay, at any point, all hell's going to break loose. What's the point if you have to step on eggshells? What's the point? So that's my view on love and relationships, is having a foundation prior to the love languages. Love languages are vehicles and means as a way in which we express our love, and that's cool. And I don't deny the merit and I don't deny the credibility of love languages. But what I care about first and foremost, my priority with relationships with people I care about and not people I love, my priority is that we have a basic understanding that we both want harmony at all costs. And what are the costs? The cost is our sense of comfort. The cost is potentially being hurt. But ultimately, what we want to do is build a bridge from me to you. And if that's our objective, then we can speak freely, knowing that the goal here isn't to be superior. The goal here isn't for me to make you feel inferior. The goal here is for us to be on the same team and for us to have the best functionality, the best fluidity, the best harmony we can. Because this world will eat you alive. This world doesn't give a fuck about you necessarily. And if you can't have a confidence that the people you love truly have your back, not have your back just because they're in your proximity, not have your back just because y'all have spent time together, but have your back because they have shown you through the trials and tribulations that their interest is not to win. Their interest is to not make you feel bad. Their interest is to be connected, is to be one. Harmony, 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 harmony. That's my rant about love languages. I don't know if the fuck that was helpful or not, but that's how I feel. And okay, I'll end it there.